What is up, guys? I'm Milad, and I'm here with,
What's up, guys? It's Bobby.
and we are coming to you with another episode of Harsh Truths. Sorry we didn't come to you guys with an episode last week. It's been a little hectic, but we're coming to you guys with an episode with an idea we had today. And today we're going to be talking about comparing players with their kind of opposites, or kind of like players that they can be compared to, not opposites, but players they can be compared to, and just players that you think aren't as good as another, but they might actually be a little closer than we think. So right now I'm gonna list one of our comparisons we came up with that a lot of people actually think there's a bigger gap between these two players. But I'm going to get this started with Bobby. And the two players I wanted to talk about was Kemba Walker and Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, I mean, I've made this argument before, but I think when we assess certain all-stars, I think there's like a three-tier system. And it's actually similar to what Max Kellerman says on ESPN First Take, where like a tier one all-star is like LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis, like really like impactful, just superstar caliber players. And then we have the tier two players who are, they're still all stars, but you wouldn't really consider them a superstar. In my opinion, that'd be a player like, I don't know, like Russell Westbrook maybe. To me, is a tier two type of point guard. That's just my opinion on it. And then tier three to me is like starting caliber players. Do you agree with that?
I could agree with you, yeah.
So for Kyrie and Kemba, I mean, I've always been the one to say that to me, they're almost the exact same type of player. And I also think they're both tier two all-star players, meaning they're not superstars to me, but they are all-stars because they put up 20 plus points and they do have an impact on the game.
So they're on the higher end of the tier two.
Yeah, they're on the higher end of the tier two, in my opinion. And they're both very similar. And then, so a lot of people would argue that Kyrie is better, and I think a lot of that, it's coming from his time with Cleveland, in my opinion, where his time with LeBron James, I think, propelled his career. I don't know if you'd agree with me on that or not.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But to me, if you were to put Kemba on that Cavs team, with LeBron, I still think the outcome would be the same. That's my opinion on it.
Okay. Now, a lot of people would probably argue about the shot that won them Game 7 or whatever that Kyrie hit with Kemba replicated it. Yeah. Who knows? That's kind of hard to tell right there because who knows what the positioning of the game would have been at that point. But okay, so fun fact about Kemba and Kyrie, in case you guys didn't know, they were actually drafted in the same draft. They were both from the 2011 draft. Kemba went 9th overall. Kyrie went number 1 overall. Now, yeah, so they're already put against each other in a sense because point guards from the same draft. It's kind of similar to how everyone's going to compare Lonzo Ball to De'Aaron Fox because those two went in the same draft together and they're both point guards. So they're kind of linked together for their career to see who's going to be the better point guard, who got the better pickup.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, first, let's think of, between these two, let's talk about longevity, I think, because that's the first thing this one brings up. Kemba Walker played 82 games this last season, and Kyrie Irving played 67. Now, Kemba, for the most part, from what I've seen, and even in previous years, he's been pretty reliable as a player. You don't really see much injury issues, him sitting out that much, and he's put a lot of load on himself while he was on those Charlotte Hornet teams. And then Kyrie, for some reason, has been having some weird kind of injuries with the knees, with whatever it may be. Like, ever since he got traded to Boston, it seems like nothing's been really, certain for him. Mm-hmm. And then minutes played per game, Kemba actually has the edge. Points per game, Kemba also has the edge. But here's where Kyrie starts winning a little bit. Field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, rebounds per game, assists per games, blocks per games, steals per games, free throw percentage. So
is that career?
This is just this last year. This last year, 2018. So that's interesting to me. But, like, at the same time, Kemba's probably taking more shots, But at the same time, seems like the numbers would say Kyrie is a little more on the efficient side than Kemba.
Yeah.
But, the other thing you could bring into mind is how Kyrie, before LeBron came to Cleveland, wasn't really carrying the Cavs anywhere. Now, a lot of people have this kind of perspective on Kyrie that he can carry a team on his own, and he's got that going for him. But he had that chance before LeBron came, and given he was super young, and I think a rookie at that time. But, they were a lottery team still at the time. Like, what happened was it, they still got the number 1 pick in the draft, and they traded it for Kevin Love. Mm-hmm. So, they're still at that lottery level. And same with Kemba. Kemba wasn't able to carry that team in Charlotte really far. So, let's see how much he can actually bring to the table for the Celtics.
I was also going to go back to what you said, about Kyrie before LeBron showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, stay with me here, but, I'm not comparing the players. I'm just comparing the situation and the impact they had on their franchise. Would you say that Kyrie's impact before LeBron showed up was the same as Devin Booker's on the Sun? I think it's pretty similar. I don't remember Kyrie having any sort of overall impact on, maybe offensively a little bit. They were bearable to watch. But
offensively, both were juggernauts. They're both, they're not scrubs. Yeah. They could both ball out.
But they didn't win.
But in terms of production, in terms of bringing wins for your team.
In terms of, team production.
Yeah, I could say that
individually.
Comparably, yeah, they both, pretty low down there. Given that Devin Booker's actually been, on the worst team for, a couple of years now, instead of just, 1 or 2 for Kyrie.
But don't you think it's that, I'm going to switch over to Devin Booker. Don't you think it's Devin Booker's job being that high of a pick and being paid over $100 million in an extension? Don't you think we need results first in terms of winning? The culture hasn't changed. Now, you can blame management for that, but I could argue when LeBron showed up to Cleveland, he automatically changed the culture there.
Yeah, but LeBron is a once-in-a-generation kind of talent, so it's hard to...
But Devin Booker's being paid like a generational type of talent.
Yeah, so is Karl Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins, but,
exactly.
I could say that they're on a little bit of the overrated hypes type of train.
I was going to say the same thing. They're definitely overrated, those two. How many years have they been on the Wolves? And, to me, they seem stagnant. They're stuck.
Yeah, the Wolves really don't have much to move, especially since they let go of Jimmy Butler and that whole situation. And a lot of questions have been popping up about Karl Anthony Towns' drive and Andrew Wiggins. So, what would you say? What would you say about Andrew Wiggins, Karl Anthony Towns, and Devin Booker? Then overrated, underrated, or just right?
It's gonna rub people off the wrong way. I think Devin Booker is a bit overrated.
Okay.
I think Andrew Wiggins is. I think a lot of people can agree that Andrew Wiggins is 100% overrated.
Yes, I agree with you on that one.
Karl Anthony Towns, talent-wise, he's phenomenal, I think. Talent-wise, that's a generational talent, what he has.
Mm-hmm.
It's just impact-wise, we don't see it.
Okay, so I
think he's where he's at, I guess.
That's what I was going to say. I would say Karl Anthony Towns is hyped just right. Wiggins is overhyped because he had Kobe comparisons when coming into the league. But he's still not a bad player. He's a good player. He's a good player, especially when he goes up against my Lakers. Apparently, he becomes the second coming of Kobe when he plays the Lakers for some reason.
Right?
Somehow.
Everybody.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody.
Everyone.
Last season,
all of a sudden.
Unexpected players.
Yeah.
Become good.
And then I would say Devin Booker is ranked just right. I would give him just right too.
What tier is he?
I think he's in that second tier. I think he's a little below. I think he's around maybe a little bit of the Kyries and the Kembas.
So you think he's an all-star?
I still need to see a little more. I still need to see a little more.
He's an all-star, but to me, it's maybe barely an all-star.
I need to see a little more. Yeah, I need to see a little.
I think he's barely on the tier 2 mark, barely. Like he could switch to tier 3 easily.
Yeah,
To me.
I don't think so for me.
When you
to
think
be
of the
honest.
tier 3, I think of a bona fide starter. Absolutely a starter. That's tier 3.
I don't think Devin Booker dropped 70 points in one game. I don't think
one game.
I don't think that's a bona fide starter. I think that's like competing to become an all-star.
And they still lost that game too.
Yeah, but still, that's an offensive juggernaut of a performance. The last time someone scored that many points was Kobe Bryant with 81.
Yeah.
Like, and that at a young age. I just think the Phoenix organization doesn't set him up to win. So I don't know how much we can really judge him based on the winning
So
situation.
you're saying the organization doesn't put him in a position to succeed?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think if you put Devin Booker like in a similar situation to that D'Angelo Russell was in last season, I think he could have balled out with the Nets and made a similar impact to as D'Angelo Russell did last season with the Nets. Got you thinking right now, huh?
I can see that. Yeah.
Because D'Lo was also in a similar situation where he kind of was getting his name rubbed wrongly in the league. They weren't showing much for wins. And then he went into the right situation in Brooklyn. Did I call him the New Jersey Nets a second ago? But
I didn't even catch it.
I might have said New Jersey, but I meant Brooklyn. He went to Brooklyn, and it switched up his whole career for him. So.
But okay, this is a side question. You think D'Angelo Russell's an all-star?
Yeah. I see that. I don't think he's solidified as an all-star. I could see him
solidified all-star.
I could see him being an all-star one season and not being an all-star the next season and being an all-star the season after that. But
so that's a tier 3.
Man, you're throwing around a little bit weirdly with these tiers. Because tier 3, you're saying
tier 2.
Well, tier 2 you're saying is like a starter to all-star level. And then or not starter to all-star, but like a really good starter, and like all-star level is tier 2, and like from what you're describing, and then tier 1 is what you're describing as generational, as like KDs and Kawhis and LeBrons and ADs. That's tier 1, and then tier 3, in my opinion, is probably like solid starters. Like you could say, I can't think of one off the top of my head without feeling like
Think of what?
I can't think of one off the top of my head right now, like a tier 3 player.
A tier 3 player?
Spencer Dinwiddie?
Paul Millsap? I think he's a tier 3.
I think he's high. I wouldn't put him up as a tier 3 player.
What do you mean? What tier would he be in?
I don't know. When I think I wouldn't put like are you putting Caruso in tier 3 also? Is tier 3 the lowest tier? Or is
what do you mean Caruso's tier 1?
Yeah, you're right, low key.
We don't talk. We can't speak his name.
You caught me slipping, bro. You caught me slipping a little bit right there.
Caruso and tier 3's at tier 1. Everyone knows.
Caruso tier 1. But okay, we're getting a little bit sidetracked. So, anything else you want to add to the Kemba and Kyrie comparison?
My question to you would be, who would you, if you were a GM and you were tasked to
start a franchise?
Start a franchise, have a star player. Which one would you pick to start your franchise with? Kyrie or Kemba?
Is this barring injuries, barring all that stuff, and given both the same team and everything?
Yeah.
Are you saying how they came out as rookies, or with the current experience they have?
With the current, like what you've seen so far, who would you rather have?
I'll take Kyrie.
And that's because of LeBron.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
because of the experience LeBron gave him.
Yeah.
Skill-wise,
they're the same.
If Kemba was given the same experience as Kyrie, I would take Kemba in this situation. I think the fact that Kyrie's been to the finals and hit big shots in the finals games, that's what would help me take him over Kemba. Kemba's only seen the first round of the playoffs, and I think that's only happened a couple of times too. I
think once.
Yeah, I think it was once or twice.
Against I might be complete. I think it was against Miami too, the Big 3. That era.
Yeah, might have been.
That's the last time I remember seeing Kemba in a playoff series.
Yeah, Kemba.
And after that, I don't remember him at all.
I'll Google it real quick, but yeah, I don't know. Playoffs. He went twice. The 2014 playoffs and the 2016 playoffs. Yep, that was.
I don't even remember.
2014, he got cooked by the Miami Heat, like the Big 3, and then they also played the Miami Heat in the 2016 ones also.
They did.
That was a 7-game series. Yep.
Was it?
Yeah.
No way.
It was a 7-game series, but that was the Miami, Dwayne Wade Miami.
Oh, okay. That's what I was about to say. Like, that's pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember it. And Chris Bosh, I don't think was playing either. Maybe he was.
Maybe not. I don't think so. 2016, I don't know.
But my point is, overall, I think Kyrie and Kemba are the same to me. It's just Kyrie got paired with a generational player, which put him in a better position to succeed. But I guess that kind of connects to your point too, how a lot of it does have to do with what the franchise gives you. But I also think it goes both ways, where I think the player needs to, I don't know, contribute as well.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's move on to our second comparison then. CJ McCollum and Klay Thompson.
Yeah. This is a good one.
But here, let me start off with something that will separate both of them mainly in terms of who they are. McCollum's 6'3" and Thompson is 6'7". McCollum weighs 190 pounds. Thompson weighs 215 pounds. They're about the same age. McCollum was drafted 2 years later than Klay Thompson, and they were both early picks in the first round of their draft. McCollum being the 10th pick of his respective draft, and Klay Thompson being the 11th pick of his respective draft.
Pretty similar.
Pretty similar.
Okay, so I think with Klay and CJ, to me, CJ is a better scorer. I don't know how you feel about that.
Okay.
Like, CJ is a better overall scorer to me, just based off the eye test. To me, just watching them, to me, CJ is a much more fluid scorer, naturally gifted scorer than Klay Thompson is.
Okay. I could argue the other side, but I respect that. The thing is, I see Klay Thompson heating up, hitting 35 points in a single quarter, and I don't see CJ McCollum being able to do that. But that's the thing.
But I could argue that's because of his point guard, and that's also because of the position he's in as well. Having a playmaker like Draymond Green on the team.
Yeah, but at the same time, they threw everything at Klay, and they just gave him the ball, and he was chucking it up, and it was going in.
Yeah.
So I don't think anything would have made a difference when Klay was in that mindset. Klay could have been on the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he would have been draining like threes like that.
But is he consistent?
That's the one thing about Klay.
Naturally good scorer.
I feel like I could rely on CJ a little more than Klay. Like, if Klay's giving it for me, like, if he's balling out, I know he's gonna ball out. Like, he's gonna give some good numbers up there. But if he's not, I could see him being absent for like a couple games. Especially in the playoffs, I feel like sometimes he gets unreliable, but sometimes, like they say Game 6 Klay, like when they were up 3-1 or down 3-1 against the OKC Thunder when Durant was on OKC, like Game 6 Klay, that's what everyone talks about when he completely balled out that game.
Yeah. And he's a better defender.
Oh, yeah. Klay's 100. That's the one. Yeah, that argument's one-sided. Like, Klay's 100% better defender than McCollum.
And I think, you said it too, how Klay, I think we've seen this in the playoffs as well. Like, both of them, even Curry and Klay, they both go on cold streaks.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I think
they're like
a lot more than I feel like CJ McCollum would. Because to me, like, let's say CJ's like shot isn't falling. From what I've seen, he has an inside and out game. So he can drive in, he can get fouled, he draws fouls, all that. I can even say he's also a pretty good playmaker.
He's a more well-rounded offensive game than Klay. Klay's just amazing at what he does in offense, but then McCollum's great at like almost everything on offense.
But what makes this interesting is, to me, like, CJ is a sharpshooter to me.
Yeah, I could see that.
Just like Klay. Maybe not as lethal as Klay, but he's up there.
Okay, I see that. Okay. Well, my battery on my camera is about to die in a second, so I think we should end it here. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in on this episode of Harsh Truths. I'm Milad, and I'm here with...
Why do we keep doing that?
I don't know. But this is Bobby. No, I'm Milad. No, this is Bobby. Okay. Nonetheless, thank you guys for tuning in, and see you guys next week on Harsh Truths. Peace.
See you guys.